Maturity may just seem as a single term, but it sparks numerous discussions that lead to skepticism and ignorance. By definition, maturity is the overall expression of emotional well being and knowledge. It is the ability to understand one's own emotional experience, be guided by that experience into some element of truth, stimulate the truth in the context of other truths, and finally act in line with one's values. Now comes the controversial question. Is maturity actually determined by age? Some might agree with this while others might disagree. And as intricate as it appears, I strongly believe that it is not, as a person's maturity can be developed by a variety of factors, not only their age. This is why we must end the stubborn prejudice that older individuals are inherently more mature than younger people. As we all know, life teaches us lessons through experiences which can be both good and bad. And according to a writer named Tala Aziz from the site medium.com, experience is what makes you mature. It is one of the factors that influences an individual's maturity. However, we are not referring to experience itself, rather, how one grows from experiences. Every individual is confronted with problems in life just like in childhood, which later influences their well being. But we also need to remember and consider that age does not always indicate more experience. It is still possible that a 25-year-old may have more experience than a 65-year-old. This is why we need to cease believing that elderly people are always more mature than younger people. Another key factor that affects maturity throughout a person's life from childhood to adulthood is a person's environment. This includes cultural influences that affects one's custom and beliefs that hones and develop individuals emotionally, socially, physically, and linguistically. People might often overlook this, but culture influences our development from the moment we are born and continues to influence us as we grow. This could also influence how a person sees the world and could have an effect on their perception of reality. As children learn from their surroundings, which include how to handle issues, develop routines and behaviors, socialize, and function in general. These statements strongly support why I believe that the setting a person engages in may have an effect on their overall well being. Another important factor that indicates maturity is the degree of responsibility that a person can bear. To quote a writer on the site linkedin.com, Shazad Ahmed, responsibility makes you mature, not age. When individuals take on responsibilities, they must step aside on their immediate needs and think about the possible consequences of their behaviors. Therefore, this indicates that a mature person understands the consequences of their actions as those that assume accountability tend to develop emotional intelligence. So we can therefore say that younger people facing responsibilities may be more mature than older counterparts who step away from facing responsibilities in life. However, however, even though there are other elements that have a greater influence on maturity, it is nevertheless undeniable that age may still serve a role. It's just that people often think that age solely and directly guarantees maturity, even though it does not. We must keep in mind that maturity is a choice and aging is merely a number. Growing older is something that happens naturally for all of us, while maturity, on the other hand, takes an active approach. Of course, there may be instances when an older person is more mature than a younger person. But we must keep in mind that it is not always the case. Note too that maturity is not uniform with everyone, and some may mature slower or faster due to circumstances that one could face. To sum it all up, considering the aspects that was mentioned earlier, it is now very clear that age doesn't truly guarantee an individual's maturity, as this is influences as this is influenced by factors such as life experiences, social or physical environment, responsibility, and many more that are too deep to adequately express. Now we can shutter the glasses of stereotypes that are integrated with maturity. As we were introduced to the different factors, we can finally declare that maturity cannot be generally based on age alone. Maybe serves as a wake up call for us to abandon the belief that older people are necessarily more mature than younger people, as maturity and age do not always correlate directly. Reflecting on a previous belief that used to spark discussions of this agreement and chaos, may we understand this new understanding and strive for a society that doesn't foster the beliefs and expectations that are socially shared about age and aging. Now, do we still need to ask whether age guarantees maturity? Clearly, the answer is no.